Hello, welcome to another episode of my ARK Survival Ascended series. Today's episode, we're going to be taking a break from building and do some proper progression. So for that, I needed some better gear, which I thought I could find in deep sea loot crates. But for that, I needed a way to traverse the ocean, and I thought the way I could do that was with a Megalodon. So now, I already had some scuba gear from some previous loot crates, which was going to give me the ability to breathe underwater and swim a bit faster as well. So I got on my RG and set off to find one. I went up the east coast, looked around under the ocean and found one, an okay level 1. So I set up a cage for me to trap it. But then I found an even higher level 1 right next to it. So I switched my target to the 115 and tried to lure him over. But he kind of ran away at one point and did try again, luring him over, and it was successful. I did manage to trap him in. Just put a bunch of tracks into him and then tamed him up. So once he was tamed, I named him Megalodon, but I had forgot the saddle, so I had to fly back to the base and craft one. So once I was back, just put it on him, and then on the way back to the base, I just started to kill anything I came across. So once I was back at the base, I put down the behemoth gate I had on me to act as like a little enclosure for him, and then just went straight back out to look for the loot crates. So for that I had to travel all the way to the bottom, and while I was down there I got attacked by a Tuso, I believe they're called. It kind of got me in its grips, started eating away at me. So I ran away and just went up north, keeping my eye on the ground, and eventually I did find one. So I went down to pick it up, and the loot wasn't great. So I did just head back home and did a little bit of googling and found that there are settings to increase the loot crate quality. All this time I had been playing on the official quality, which is designed for servers, I believe. So yeah, not great. So I bumped that up to 3, which is what my other options are set to. Now, once I'd gone around looting a bunch of supply drops, I equipped some more scuba gear and thought I'd give the deep sea loot crates another shot. Whilst I was out there, I came across an alpha mosasaur, and I heard they give pretty good loot along with a bunch of black pearls, so I had a go at killing it, and I barely managed to do it. But as I was about to loot it, my Megalodon ate it, but it was slot capped when it did so it didn't actually pick up any of it. Which, aside from the pearls, it didn't look like it was very good anyway, so not too big of an issue. But after some more exploring, I was able to find another supply crate, so of course I looted that, and again it didn't really seem too good compared to the other loot I was getting. So I did call it quits there for deep sea loot crates and just decided to farm more supply drops instead. And while I was out there, I stumbled across a pretty high level Doedicurus, which I thought could be a nice upgrade from the one I already had. So I picked that guy up and took him back to the base, where I tamed him and named him Darren. And not too long after that, the Winter Wonderland event started, which came with a bunch of cosmetics, cryopods and cryofridges, as well as raptor claws, who at midnight would drop a bunch of presents across the island. So of course, for a bit I went around collecting as much as I could. And another thing that this event added was a like these wish lists you could send to raptor claws, and for that you needed a holiday tree near a bed, and in a fireplace you could select what you wanted. So there's a dinosaur, a weapon, saddle and armor. I decided to go with a dinosaur, so if you do bad things like killing babies, you'll get on the naughty list, but if you do good things like killing carnivores, you'll get on the nice list, and this will affect what kind of rewards you get. Also, I found this baby Rex, which was actually mutated as well, so I imprinted on her, which also did increase my nice meter. So after that, I just started killing all the carnivores I came across. So killing that abominable snowman got me to super nice status, which was enough to get the highest quality loot. And I think I was like 5 seconds too late because I didn't get any loot. And I waited all night. I didn't get anything. So that was the only attempt I was going to do. And I actually crashed twice while doing that, which reset my progress. So yeah, not doing that again. So this next part, I just went on a complete taming spree, and I started with this level 145 Uteranus, which is a important dinosaur for a few of the boss fights, so getting one of these would be very good, especially at that level. And once Yennefer here had woken up, I started taking her back to the base, where I stumbled upon a level 125 Megatherium. So I placed down the trap and tamed him up as well. After that, I travelled to the nearest obelisk, where I crafted a cryo fridge and a couple of cryopods, which these were going to be very helpful for transporting dinos around the place. So I took Marcel to the swamp, where I thought maybe I could farm some chitin from leeches, which could get me cementing paste, and it worked okay. It wasn't too great. So I decided just to go back, and on the way back I brought a pig with me because we're going to need a couple of those later on. And while I was at the swamp I did contract swamp fever, but I did have some lesser antidotes which cured it and also gave me an achievement. So the next tame after that was a level 115 Rex, and I used the same method as the other two for trapping it, which seems to be working very well, just the 4 gates. But again, wasn't paying attention to my temperature and I froze to death. So I had to fly back on Petunia, and when I got there I did knock her out, the Rex, but as I was waiting for it to tame, Petunia did get attacked by an RG, and I tried to help, but just ended up shooting her instead, so she kind of died, which is pretty sad, considering she was my first proper tame. So we may have lost one, but we did gain another. I just successfully tamed the Rex, and after that, I went back to the swamp to find a frog, because frogs, a high level one, could do very well inside the swamp cave. And the swamp cave can get you a lot of chitin and a lot of cementing paste. So that's what I focused on next. Just going back and forth, killing all the low levels. And eventually, I found a max level one. So I definitely took that guy home and enclosed him in one of the wall's turrets, where I bowled him, knocked him out, and tamed him up. And then after that, I did some preparations. I got some gas masks, some scuba gear, and some ghillie gear, as well as a bug repellent from the kitchen. Then made my way over to the redwoods so that I could do the swamp cave. But before entering, I wanted to level up my new tame, so I went around the redwoods, picking up a bunch of explorer notes. And then when I thought I was a high enough level, I ventured on in. And with that, I completed the swamp cave and received my very first artifact, along with a ton of cementing paste. And I wasn't really a fan of how I was looking, so while the Winter Wonderland event was still active, I crafted up the Santa costume, painted it a bit more to match my style, and there we go. This is what I'm going to be wearing for the remainder of the series. Next, I put down a gravestone for Petunia, and then put the artifact on display in my throne room. And with those down, I wanted to finish off a couple things from last episode. So I did some metal gathering, and with all that new cementing paste we got, I was able to create a couple vaults for the storeroom, which I then put all my materials inside. And once that was done, I moved over to the kitchen to finish that room off with a boiler and some other things. After that was all done, I wanted to start work on a greenhouse. So I went out on my Yankee and started collecting some crystal. So with that, the structure of the greenhouse was all done, but to get the plants going, I needed some fertilizer, and a lot of it. So I went back to the swamps, yet again, to find and tame a baryonyx, which I was going to use to explore the lower south cave. Because in this cave you can find dung beetles, and what those dung beetles can do is turn poop into fertilizer. So there was another cave done, and another artifact collected, and on my way home I picked up another pig, which I could breed with the one I already had at home, and then make a bunch of them. So once I put all of those guys down, I had them mate, then went through with all the crop plots, planting the vegetables, and then adding fertilizer. And here we are. As you can see, I did a bunch of breeding, so all of these guys are just going to constantly be pooping. The beetle here will pick it all up and turn it into fertilizer. But yeah, as you can see, all of our plants have grown, so as time goes on, these are just going to be creating a bunch of vegetables that we could use in recipes. And this compartment here, this is going to be for honey. That takes a little bit to get, so we can't do that today. But yeah, aside from that, the greenhouse is all pretty much done, and it is looking pretty cool as well, I think. I put the second artifact down, and I think we've done quite a lot today. So I think I'm going to end the episode there. Also, one more thing. Unfortunately, my Megalodon was murdered by a manta. So yeah, that sucks. So I think next episode we are going to go back to building. I want to get started on the village out here. Could be pretty cool. But until then, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.